I woke up on October 15th expecting flowers, maybe breakfast in bed, at least a card. Instead, I woke up to an empty bed and a note on the pillow. Had to leave early for work. Love you. No mention of our anniversary. Nothing. We'd been married for 7 years. 7 years to the day. And my husband David had apparently forgotten. I sat there holding that note, trying not to cry. This wasn't like him. David was the romantic one in our relationship. He remembered every birthday, every Valentine's Day, every random Tuesday we'd had our first date on. He planned surprise dinners and weekend getaways. He left love notes in my lunch bag. So forgetting our anniversary, it didn't make sense. I texted him, "Happy anniversary." 3 hours later, he still hadn't responded. I called him during my lunch break. It went straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. Just wanted to say happy anniversary. Call me when you get a chance." He didn't call. By 5 p.m., I was hurt. By 7 p.m., I was angry. By 9 p.m., when he finally walked through the door, I was ready for a fight. "You forgot," I said before he could even take off his shoes. "Forgot what?" "Our anniversary, David. Today is our 7-year anniversary and you forgot." He looked genuinely confused. "No, it's not. Our anniversary is in December." "December?" "David, we got married on October 15th. 7 years ago today." "Megan, I think I know when we got married. It was December 8th. I stared at him. Was he serious? Was he actually trying to gaslight me about our own wedding date? "David, I have the marriage certificate in our filing cabinet. We got married October 15th. "Then why do I remember December?" "I don't know. Maybe you're confusing it with something else, but I'm telling you today is our anniversary and you forgot." He pulled out his phone. "Let me check my calendar. I always put important dates in my calendar." He scrolled through October. Then he scrolled to December. His face went pale. "What?" I asked. "Nothing." "You're right. I'm sorry, I forgot. I've just been so busy with work lately. It slipped my mind." "It slipped your mind? Our anniversary slipped your mind?" "I'm sorry, Meg. I really am. Let me make it up to you. We'll go to that nice restaurant downtown. I'll make a reservation right now." "I don't want a restaurant. I wanted you to remember." "I know. I messed up. I'm sorry." He made the reservation anyway. We went to dinner the next night. It was nice. He apologized again. We moved on. Except I couldn't stop thinking about how weird he'd been. The way his face had gone pale when he looked at his calendar. The way he'd insisted our anniversary was in December. The way he'd rushed to change the subject as something felt off. A week later, I was doing laundry and found a receipt in David's pants pocket from a jewelry store, dated 2 days after our anniversary, for $3,000. My heart jumped. Maybe he hadn't forgotten after all. Maybe he'd ordered jewelry as a surprise and it just hadn't arrived yet. I waited. Days went by. No jewelry appeared. No surprise gift. Nothing. The receipt sat in my drawer like a secret. I wanted to ask him about it, but part of me wanted to wait and see if he'd give me the gift. Part of me wanted to believe he'd been planning something special all along. 3 weeks went by. Still nothing. I was putting away his laundry one afternoon when I found another receipt. This one from a florist. $500 worth of roses. Dated October 20th, 5 days after our anniversary. Who was getting $500 worth of roses if not me? I sat on our bed holding that receipt, my hands shaking. Was David having an affair? Was that why he'd forgotten our anniversary? Because he was too busy with someone else? I went through his other pants pockets, his jacket pockets, his wallet. I found more receipts, restaurants I'd never been to, hotels in the city, a receipt from a bakery for a custom cake. None of it made sense. David and I lived together. We worked different schedules, but we still saw each other every day. When was he finding time to go to fancy restaurants and hotels? I checked our credit card statements online. There were charges I didn't recognize. Payments to venues, payments to photographers, payments to a caterer. It looked like someone was planning a wedding. But we were already married. We'd been married for 7 years. Unless David was planning a wedding with someone else. The thought made me physically sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. My husband of 7 years was planning a wedding to another woman. While still married to me, while still living in our house, sleeping in our bed, saying he loved me every morning, I called my sister Emma. She answered on the second ring. Hey, Meg, what's up? I think David is having an affair. What? No way, David worships you. I then explained this. I sent her photos of all the receipts, the jewelry, the flowers, the restaurant charges, the venue payments, the photographer. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Okay, that's weird. But maybe there's an explanation. Maybe he's planning a surprise for you. For 3 weeks after our anniversary that he forgot? Did you ask him about any of this? No, I found it going through his pockets. Meg, you need to talk to him. What if he lies? What if I ask him and he has some perfect excuse and I believe him and I'm wrong? Then you follow him. See where he's actually going. So that's what I did. I started tracking David's location on his phone. We'd always shared locations with each other for safety. He had no idea I was watching him. The next week, on a Tuesday afternoon, I watched his location move from his office to an address across town. Not a restaurant, not a hotel, a wedding venue. I left work early and drove there. It was a beautiful old mansion that had been converted into an event space. There were cars in the parking lot, people walking inside dressed up. I parked down the street and watched. After 30 minutes, David walked out. He was wearing a suit. Not the suit he'd worn to work that morning, a different suit, a tuxedo. He got in his car and drove away. I waited another few minutes, then I got out and walked up to the venue. There was a sign outside. Private event, Foster wedding. Foster was David's last name. My last name too, since we'd gotten married. But I wasn't in there. I wasn't the bride at this wedding. I walked up to the front desk. A woman in a staff uniform smiled at me. Are you here for the Foster wedding? Yes, I lied. I'm a friend of the bride. Oh, wonderful. They're just finishing up the venue tour. The wedding is scheduled for December 8th. You can head upstairs to the ballroom if you'd like to join them. December 8th? The date David had insisted was our anniversary. I walked upstairs to the ballroom. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. At the top of the stairs, I could hear voices, laughter, music playing softly. I turned the corner and saw them. David, my husband, standing in the middle of an empty ballroom decorated with the white flowers and fairy lights. And next to him, holding his hand, wearing a white dress, was a woman I'd never seen before. She was beautiful. Younger than me, maybe mid-20s. Long blonde hair, the kind of smile that belonged in toothpaste commercials. They were looking at something on a tablet with a wedding planner, discussing seating arrangements. The woman kept laughing at something David was saying, leaning into him, touching his arm. I stood there frozen, watching my husband plan a wedding to another woman. And you'll want the photographer here, the wedding planner was saying, pointing to a corner of the room. That's where we'll get the best light for your first dance photos. That sounds perfect, the blonde woman said. She looked up at David with this expression of pure adoration. I can't believe it's finally happening. December 8th. I can't wait, David said. And then he kissed her. Right there in front of the wedding planner. A long, tender kiss that made my stomach turn. I must have made a sound because all three of them turned to look at me. David's face went white. Not just pale, actually white, like he'd seen a ghost. Megan, he said, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? What are you doing here? Planning a wedding while you're already married to me? The blonde woman looked confused. Married? David, what is she talking about? You didn't tell her? I said, you didn't tell your fiancé that you're already married? Megan, I can explain. I'd love to hear this explanation. I really would. The wedding planner looked between the three of us, clearly uncomfortable. I'm going to give you all some privacy. She practically ran out of the room. The blonde woman stepped away from David. Is this true? Are you married? Ashley, let me explain. Ashley. Her name was Ashley. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? It's not what you think. You're planning a wedding to another woman. What else could it possibly be? I love her, David said quietly. Those 3 words hit me like a punch to the gut. He loved her. He loved Ashley. What about me? I whispered. Do you love me? Of course I love you, but I love her too. You can't love both of us. That's not how it works. Why not? Who made that rule? I stared at him. Was he serious? Was he actually trying to justify this? David, Ashley said, her voice shaking. You told me you were divorced. You said your marriage ended 2 years ago. I lied. Clearly, she said. What else did you lie about? Nothing. Everything I told you about how I feel about you is true. I want to marry you. I want to build a life with you. While staying married to her? If she'll let me. I laughed. It came out hysterical, bordering on manic. If I'll let you? You think I'm going to let you have 2 wives? It doesn't have to be legal. We're already legally married. The wedding in December would just be ceremonial, a commitment ceremony. A commitment ceremony? While you're committed to me? I'm committed to both of you. Ashley was crying now, mascara running down her perfect face. I can't believe this. I can't believe you lied to me. I didn't want to lose you. And I didn't want to lose Megan either. So I thought maybe I could have both. That's not how relationships work, I yelled. You can't just collect wives like trading cards. Why not? If everyone is honest and everyone agrees, why can't we make it work? Because I didn't agree. I didn't even know. You've been lying to me for months. Because I knew you'd react like this. I knew you wouldn't understand. What's there to understand? My husband is planning a secret wedding to another woman. Ashley grabbed her purse from a nearby chair. I need to leave. I can't process this right now. Ashley, wait, David said, reaching for her. She pulled away. Don't touch me. You lied to me. You made me the other woman without even telling me that's what I was. She ran out of the ballroom. I heard her heels clicking down the stairs, faster and faster, until the sound faded away. David and I stood there in the empty ballroom, surrounded by white flowers and fairy lights, and I didn't recognize the man I'd been married to for 7 years. When did this start? I asked him 6 months ago. 6 months. You've been with her for 6 months, and you're already planning a wedding? When you know, you know. Apparently you didn't know with me since you're looking for wife number 2. It's not like that. What you and I have is real. What Ashley and I have is also real. They're different relationships, but they're both real. Did you ever think about asking me? About telling me you wanted to see other people? Would you have said yes? No. Of course not. Exactly. So what choice did I have? You could have left me. You could have gotten divorced. You could have done this the right way. But I don't want to leave you. I love you. You have a funny way of showing it. I walked out of the ballroom, down the stairs, past the confused venue coordinator, out to my car. David followed me. Megan, wait, let's talk about this. What's there to talk about? You made your choice. I didn't choose her over you. I chose both of you. That's not an option. Why not? I got in my car and locked the doors. David knocked on the window. Megan, please, don't drive like this. You're upset. I started the car and pulled away. In my rearview mirror, I could see David standing in the parking lot watching me leave. I drove straight to Emma's house. She took one look at my face and pulled me inside. It's true, I said. He's planning a wedding to someone named Ashley for December 8th, the date he insisted was our anniversary. Oh my God, Meg, I'm so sorry. He said he loves both of us. He said he wants to stay married to me and also marry her, like it's polyamory, but he forgot to tell me I was part of it. Emma made me tea and let me cry on her couch for 2 hours. Then she said what I already knew. You need to call a lawyer. I know. Like tomorrow. First thing. I know. Do you want to stay here tonight? No, I need to go home. I need to face him. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. I drove home around 9 p.m. David's car was in the driveway. The lights were on inside. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, gathering courage before I finally went in. David was sitting on the couch, still in his tuxedo, his head in his hands. He looked up when I walked in. "We need to talk," he said. "Now you want to talk?" After months of lying, I know I handled this badly, but I need you to understand. Understand what? That you fell in love with someone else, and instead of being honest with me, you decided to plan a secret wedding? I didn't know how to tell you. You could have started with Megan. I met someone and I have feelings for her. That would have been a good place to start. And then what? You would have asked me to choose, her or you, and I don't want to choose. That's too bad. Because you have to. That's how this works. Why? Why do I have to choose? I sat down in the armchair across from him. Tell me about her. About Ashley. What do you want to know? Everything. How did you meet her? When? Where? David sighed. I met her at a conference in April. She works in marketing for a tech company. We started talking during a coffee break. She was smart and funny and easy to talk to. We exchanged numbers, started texting. Then we met for coffee, then dinner, and it just happened. You fell in love. Like, yes. And you didn't think to mention to your wife that you were falling in love with someone else? I thought it would go away. I thought it was just a crush, but it didn't go away. It got stronger. So you decided to propose. She doesn't know I proposed. She thinks I'm divorced. She thinks she's my first wife, not my second. How did you explain never being able to stay overnight? Never meeting your family? All the times you had to cancel plans because you were actually with me? I told her I was in the middle of a messy divorce, that I had family issues, that I needed to take things slow. She understood. She was patient. Until you decided to marry her in December. I wanted to make it official. I wanted her to know I was serious about her. While staying married to me? Yes, David, that's insane. You know that's insane, right? Is it? People have open marriages. People do polyamory. Why is this different? Because everyone in those situations knows about it. You can't have an open marriage if your wife doesn't know it's open. I know. I messed up. I should have told you from the beginning. So why didn't you? Because I was scared. Scared you'd leave me. Scared I'd lose you. So instead, you lied for 6 months and planned a secret wedding. That was your solution. I know it sounds bad when you say it like that. It sounds bad because it is bad. We sat in silence for a moment. Then David said, "What happens now?" I don't know. I need time to think. Are you going to divorce me? Probably. Yeah. I mean, you're planning a wedding to someone else. That seems like a pretty clear sign our marriage is over. But what if I call it off? What if I end things with Ashley and we work on our marriage? Could you do that? Could you really just walk away from her? He hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything I needed to know. You love her, I said, really love her. Not just the thrill of something new, but actual love. Yes. Then our marriage is already over. It ended the moment you fell in love with someone else and decided not to tell me. Megan, I'm going to bed. In the guest room. Tomorrow, I'm calling a lawyer, and you're going to figure out where you're going to live, because it's not going to be here. I went upstairs before he could respond. I locked the guest room door and cried into the pillow so he wouldn't hear. The next morning, David was gone. He'd left a note on the kitchen counter. I'm staying at a hotel. I'm sorry for everything. I love you. I called a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Chen. I'd found her online, highly rated, specializing in divorce. I sat in her office at 10 a.m. and told her everything, the forgotten anniversary, the receipts, the wedding venue, Ashley, all of it. Patricia took notes and didn't look surprised by any of it. I guess when you're a divorce lawyer, nothing surprises you anymore. Do you want to file for divorce? She asked. Yet, on what grounds? Adultery? Is planning a wedding to someone else while married to me enough proof? More than enough. Do you have photos, documentation? I have receipts, credit card statements, the venue booking. Good. We'll need all of that. Is there any chance your husband will contest a divorce? I don't think so. He seemed resigned to it. What about property? Do you own a house together? Yes, and we have joint bank accounts, a car, retirement funds, the usual. Oregon is an equitable distribution state, which means property is divided fairly, but not necessarily equally. Given the adultery, we may be able to argue for a more favorable division for you. We spend the next hour going over details assets, debts, what I wanted, what I was willing to compromise on. By the end of it, my head was spinning. One more thing, Patricia said. Is there any chance your husband is actually going through with this wedding in December? I don't know, maybe. He seems pretty committed to both of us. If he does marry this other woman, while still legally married to you, that's bigamy. That's a crime. Would he actually go to jail for that? Probably not. But it would certainly help our case in the divorce proceedings. I left Patricia's office feeling numb. I was getting divorced after 7 years of marriage because my husband fell in love with someone else, and instead of being honest, he planned a secret wedding. My phone rang. It was David. I didn't answer. He called again. I sent it to voicemail. Then a text came through. Please call me. We need to talk. I called him. What do you want? I broke it off with Ashley. What? I called her this morning. I told her it's over, that I'm staying with you, that I made a mistake. And she just accepted that. Not exactly. She's pretty upset. But I told her I can't keep lying to both of you. I chose you, Meg. I chose our marriage. I should have felt relieved. I should have felt happy. My husband had chosen me over his mistress. But all I felt was empty. It's too late, I said. And what do you mean? I mean, I already called a lawyer. I'm filing for divorce. Meg, no, wait, let's talk about this. I ended things with Ashley. We can work through this. No, we can't. You fell in love with someone else. You planned a wedding behind my back. You lied to me for 6 months. Those aren't things you just work through. People get past affairs all the time. We can go to counseling. I don't want to go to counseling. I want to get divorced. Meg, please, I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you. If you love me, you wouldn't have fallen in love with someone else. If you love me, you would have been honest. If you love me, you wouldn't have forgotten our anniversary while planning a wedding to another woman. I know, you're right, I messed up, but please give me another chance. I can't. I'm sorry, David, but I can't. I hung up. And then I blocked his number because I knew if I didn't, he'd keep calling and I'd eventually give in because that's what I always did. I drove to Emma's house. She was working from home, laptop open at her kitchen table. He broke up with her. I said, with Ashley? Yeah. He called her this morning and ended it. Said he chose me. And I told him I'm still getting divorced. Emma closed her laptop. How do you feel about that? I don't know. Sad, angry, relieved, all of it at once. Do you still love him? I think so, but I don't trust him anymore. And without trust, what's the point? That's fair. He wants to go to counseling, to work through it. Do you want that? Part of me does. Part of me wants to believe we can fix this, but the bigger part of me knows we can't. You don't come back from this. You don't just forget that your husband planned a whole wedding to another person. No, you don't. I stayed at Emma's for a few days. I couldn't face going home, sleeping in the bed I'd shared with David, looking at our wedding photos on the wall. It was all too much. On day 3, Emma said, You know you have to go back eventually, right? It's your house too. I know, I just need a little more time. Take all the time you need. But eventually, you're going to have to face this. She was right. On day 5, I went home. David's car wasn't there. I let myself in with my key and found the house exactly as I'd left it, except cleaner. David had clearly been stress cleaning. There was a note on the kitchen counter. Meg, I'm staying with my brother for now. I thought you'd want space. I'm sorry for everything. I love you. Please don't give up on us. D. I crumpled up the note and threw it away. Then I went through the house and collected everything that reminded me of him: photos, clothes he'd left behind, his collection of vinyl records. I put it all in boxes in the garage. And then I went to our bedroom and stripped the bed. New sheets, new pillows, new comforter. I couldn't sleep on the same sheets we'd shared. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Ashley. Can we talk?" I stared at the message. What could Ashley possibly want to talk to me about? Against my better judgment, I texted back. About what? About David. About what happened. I have questions and you're the only one who can answer them. Okay, when? Tomorrow? Coffee shop on Main Street? 2 p.m.? I'll be there. I spent the rest of the day wondering what Ashley wanted. Why would she want to meet with me? We were both David's victims in this. We didn't owe each other anything. But curiosity won out. I showed up at the coffee shop at 2 p.m. the next day. Ashley was already there, sitting at a corner table, nursing a latte. She looked different from the glowing bride-to-be I'd seen at the venue. Her eyes were red and puffy. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She looked like she'd been crying for days. "Thanks for meeting me," she said when I sat down. "Why did you want to meet?" "I need to know the truth about your marriage, about what David told you about me, about all of it." "Why?" "Because I need to know if anything he told me was real." I ordered a coffee and then told her everything. How David and I had been married for 7 years. How we forgot our anniversary. How I'd found the receipts and followed him to the venue. How he'd tried to justify having 2 wives. Ashley listened to all of it without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "He told me he was divorced." "He showed me papers?" "What papers?" "Divorce papers, with your name on them. Filed 2 years ago." "Those were fake. We never filed for divorce." "I know that now. But at the time, I had no reason not to believe him. He had documents. They looked official. He faked divorce papers. Apparently. Because he knew I wouldn't date a married man. So he made me think he wasn't married." That's... I didn't even have words. I know. When I found out the truth, I felt so stupid. How did I not know? How did I not see the signs? What signs? He never stayed overnight. He always had excuses for why he couldn't meet my friends or family. He was vague about his past, but he explained it all away. The messy divorce, the complicated family situation. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. I did the same thing. I believed him when he said he forgot our anniversary. I believed him when he said he was working late. I wanted to believe him because I loved him. Did you? Love him? I think so. I don't know anymore. How can you love someone who lies to you like that? Ashley nodded. That's what I keep asking myself. We sat in silence for a moment, then Ashley said, "He called me yesterday. Told me he made a mistake breaking up with me, that he wants to be with me after all." My stomach dropped. "What?" "He said he tried to make it work with you, but it's over. He said he chose wrong. He said he wants to go through with the wedding." "When did he call you?" "Yesterday afternoon. 2 days after he'd told me he chose our marriage. 2 days after he'd broken up with her. He'd already changed his mind." "What did you say?" "I told him to go to hell. I don't want to marry a man who lies. Who can flip-flop between 2 women like he's choosing a dinner entree? I deserve better than that." "You do. We both do. Are you really getting divorced?" "Yes, I already hired a lawyer." "Good. Don't let him talk you out of it. He's good at talking. He's good at making you believe whatever he wants you to believe." "I won't. I'm done." Ashley stood up. "I should go. Thank you for meeting me, for telling me the truth. Thank you for reaching out. I know that couldn't have been easy." She smiled sadly. "None of this has been easy." After she left, I sat in the coffee shop for another hour, processing everything. David had faked divorce papers. He'd already tried to get back together with Ashley. He'd lied to both of us more thoroughly than I'd even realized. I called Patricia. "I need to file as soon as possible." "I'll have the papers ready by tomorrow." The divorce papers were served to David 3 days later. His brother called me. "Meg, David is really upset. He didn't think you were serious about this." "I'm completely serious." He says he made a mistake, that he wants to work things out. Then he should have thought about that before he planned a wedding to another woman. Everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was 6 months of deliberate lying. Tell David if he wants to talk to me. He can talk to my lawyer. David tried calling from different numbers. He showed up at my work. He sent me letters, all of them saying the same thing. He was sorry. He loved me. He wanted another chance. He'd go to counseling. He'd do anything. But it was too late. The trust was broken. You can't unbreak trust. The divorce took 4 months to finalize. David fought me on everything. The house, the bank accounts, the car. He claimed he deserved half of everything. Patricia fought back. She presented the receipts, the credit card statements, the proof of the secret wedding planning. She argued that David's adultery and deception meant I should get a more favorable division of assets, and the judge agreed. I got the house, most of our savings, and the car. David got his retirement account and his personal belongings. On the day the divorce was finalized, I sat in the courtroom and watched the judge sign the papers. 7 years of marriage, officially over. David tried to talk to me as we left the courthouse. Meg, please, can we just... We have nothing to say to each other. I still love you. I don't believe you. I don't think you know what love actually means. That's not fair. None of this is fair. Goodbye, David. I walked away and didn't look back. A month after the divorce, Emma took me out to celebrate. You're free, she said, raising her glass. To new beginnings. To new beginnings, I echoed. How do you feel? Lighter, sad, relieved, angry, all of it. That's normal. Is it normal that I still miss him sometimes, even after everything he did? Unfortunately, yes. You can't just turn off 7 years of feelings. I wish I could. It'll get easier. Time and all that. She was right. It did get easier. Slowly, gradually, I stopped checking my phone hoping for a message from him. I stopped looking for his car in parking lots. I stopped wondering what he was doing and who he was with. I started going to therapy. My therapist, Dr. Harrison, helped me process the betrayal. What David did wasn't about you, she told me. It was about his inability to be honest and make hard choices. He wanted everything and didn't want to give up anything. But why wasn't I enough? That's the wrong question. The right question is, why did he think it was okay to lie to both of you? What's the answer? Because he's selfish. Because he put his wants above your needs and Ashley's needs. Because he thought he could have it all without consequences. He was wrong. He was very wrong. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into David at a grocery store. We reached for the same box of pasta and our hands touched. Sorry, I said automatically. Then I looked up and saw who it was. Meg, David said. Hi. Hi. We stood there awkwardly in the pasta aisle. He looked different, thinner, tired, like he hadn't been sleeping well. How are you? He asked. I'm good. Really good, actually. That's great. I'm glad. How about you? I'm okay. Living with my brother still, figuring things out. And Ashley? We're not together. She won't talk to me. Can't blame her, really. No, you can't. I've been thinking about you a lot. About us, about what I threw away. David, I know you don't want to hear this, but I need to say it. I was an idiot. I had everything I needed and I ruined it because I was greedy. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I appreciate the apology, but it doesn't change anything. I know. I just wanted you to know that I know how badly I messed up. Okay, well, I should go. Yeah. Take care of yourself, Meg. You too. I grabbed my pasta and walked away. My hands were shaking and my heart was racing, but I felt okay. I'd seen him, talked to him, and I'd survived it. Progress. A year after the divorce, I started dating again. His name was Ryan. We'd met at a work conference. He was kind, honest, and refreshingly straightforward. On our third date, I told him about David, about the secret wedding, about the lies. That's awful, Ryan said. I'm sorry you went through that. It made me really cautious about trusting people. That's understandable. But I hope you'll give me a chance to prove I'm not like that. I'm trying. That Ryan was patient with me. When I got anxious about him working late, he sent me photos of his office. When I got worried about who he was texting, he showed me his phone without me even asking. He was transparent in ways David never was. You don't have to prove yourself to me like this, I told him after he'd shown me his calendar for the third time that week. I know, but I want you to feel secure. I want you to trust me. And I know that takes time after what you've been through. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for giving me a chance. We dated for a year before he asked me to move in with him. I hesitated. Living with someone felt like a huge step. The last person I'd lived with had been planning a secret wedding to another woman. I'm scared, I admitted. Of what? Of getting hurt again. Of trusting someone and finding out they've been lying the whole time. I can't promise you'll never get hurt. Life doesn't work that way, but I can promise I'll be honest with you. Even when the truth is hard, especially when the truth is hard. Okay, let's do it. Moving in with Ryan was different from living with David. Ryan was organized where David had been messy. Ryan communicated where David had hidden things. Ryan made me feel safe in the ways I didn't even realize I'd been missing. 18 months after the divorce, Emma called me. I have news. Don't freak out. What news? I ran into David's brother at the mall. He told me David got engaged. My stomach dropped. To who? Some woman named Christine. They met at his new job. She's a paralegal. They've been dating for 6 months. 6 months. The same amount of time he'd been with Ashley before planning a wedding. Is he actually going through with it this time? According to his brother, yes. They're getting married next month. Did he tell her he was married before? I don't know. His brother didn't say. I hope he did. I hope he learned something from what happened with me and Ashley. Do you care? That he's getting married again? I thought about it. Did I care? A year ago, I would have been devastated, but now? No. I said honestly, I don't care. I hope it works out for him. I hope he's learned to be honest. But it doesn't affect me anymore. That's growth. That's therapy and a year of dating a good man. Emma laughed, and same thing. 2 years after the divorce, Ryan proposed. We were hiking in the mountains, just the two of us, when he got down on one knee. Megan, I know you've been hurt. I know trusting someone enough to marry them again is terrifying. But I love you, and I promise you, I will never give you reason to doubt me. I will never lie to you. I will never plan secret anything. I will be the most boring, transparent, honest husband you could ask for. Will you marry me? I said yes. Because Ryan had proven himself over 2 years. He'd shown me what real honesty looked like, what real partnership looked like, what real love looked like. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Nothing big or fancy, just us making promises we intended to keep. At the reception, Emma gave a toast. I've known Megan her whole life. 3 years ago, she went through something that would have broken a lot of people. She discovered her husband was planning a secret wedding to another woman. Her marriage ended in betrayal and lies. But she didn't let that destroy her. She healed, she grew, she learned to trust again. And now she's married to someone who actually deserves her. To Megan and Ryan. To Megan and Ryan, everyone echoed. Later that night, as Ryan and I were dancing, he said, I heard what Emma said in her toast. About David and the secret wedding. Yeah, that was my life 3 years ago. I can't imagine what that was like. Finding out he was planning a whole wedding behind your back. It was the worst day of my life. Until it became the best thing that ever happened to me. How so? Because it forced me to leave a marriage that wasn't working. It showed me what I deserved. And it eventually led me to you. I'm glad you found your way to me. Me too. 3 years after I'd caught David planning his secret wedding, I was completely happy. I had a husband who loved me, a marriage built on honesty, a life I'd rebuilt from scratch after everything fell apart. One day, I was at the grocery store when I saw her. Ashley, she looked different, older, more confident. There was a little boy in her cart, maybe 2 years old. She saw me at the same time I saw her. We both froze. Then she smiled hesitantly and walked over. Megan, hi. Ashley, how are you? I'm good. Really good, actually. This is my son, Tyler. He's beautiful. Thank you. What about you? How have you been? I'm great. I got married last year to someone who actually deserves me. Ashley laughed. Good for you. I'm engaged myself to a man who's nothing like David. He's honest to a fault, almost annoyingly honest sometimes. That sounds perfect, and then it is. I learned my lesson about men who hide things. We both did. I heard David got married to Christine. Yeah, I heard that too. I hope it works out for them. Do you really? I thought about it. Yeah, I do. I hope he learned from what happened. I hope he's treating her better than he treated us. That's very mature of you. It's been 3 years. I've had time to process. And honestly, I'm grateful it happened the way it did. If I hadn't caught him at that venue, I might still be married to him, wondering why he seemed distant, not knowing he was living a double life. I think about that too. What would have happened if you hadn't shown up that day? Would he have gone through with both weddings? Would he have kept us both in the dark? Probably. That seemed to be his plan. It's crazy to think about that we were both engaged to the same man and neither of us knew. The craziest part is he thought he could pull it off. Ashley shook her head. I'm glad we both got out. We deserve better. We did. And we found better. To better men, Ashley said, raising an imaginary glass. To better men, I echoed. We said goodbye and went our separate ways. I watched her walk away with her son, heading toward her new life, just like I was living mine. Later that evening, I told Ryan about running into Ashley. How did that feel? He asked. Weird, but good. We were both victims of David's lies, and we both moved on and found happiness. It felt like closure. I'm glad you got that. Me too. It made me realize how far I've come. 3 years ago, I was devastated. I thought my life was over. I thought I'd never trust anyone again. And now I'm married to you and I'm happy and I don't even think about David unless someone brings him up. That's because you did the work. You went to therapy. You dealt with the pain instead of running from it. You learned to trust again, even though it was scary. It was scary. You know what the scariest part was? What? Giving you my house key. Ryan laughed. Your house key. Yeah. When you asked me to move in, you asked if I wanted a key to your place. And I had this moment of panic. Because the last time I gave someone I trusted access to my life, they used it to betray me. Not with a house key, but you know what I mean. Trusting someone with that kind of access was terrifying. And yet you did it anyway. Because you'd proven yourself. Because you'd been honest and transparent. Because you showed me what real trust looks like. I promise I'll never take that trust for granted. I know you won't. That's why I married you. 4 years after I'd thought my husband had forgotten our anniversary and discovered his secret second wedding, I was finally at peace with everything that had happened. I'd learned that betrayal doesn't have to define you, that you can survive the worst thing you can imagine and come out stronger. That trust can be rebuilt, but it takes time and the right person. I'd learned that secrets always come out eventually, that lies compound until they collapse under their own weight, that honesty, even when it's hard, is always the better choice. I'd learned that love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about showing up every day, being truthful even when it's uncomfortable, choosing your partner over and over again. David had taught me what I didn't want. Ryan showed me what I deserved. And in a strange way, I was grateful for all of it. The pain, the betrayal, the discovery of the secret wedding. Because it led me here, to a life I loved, with a man I trusted. 5 years after everything happened, I got a message on Facebook from David. Megan, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I wanted you to know I'm in therapy now, working through why I did what I did. My therapist suggested I reach out to make amends to the people I hurt. I know I hurt you more than anyone. I'm sorry for lying to you, for betraying your trust, for making you feel like you weren't enough when the truth is the problem was me, not you. You deserve so much better than what I gave you. I hope you found happiness. You always deserved it. I'm sorry it took me this long to say that properly. I stared at the message for a long time. 5 years ago, that apology would have meant everything. Now it felt like words on a screen. I showed it to Ryan. Should I respond? Do you want to? I don't know. Part of me wants to tell him I forgive him. Part of me wants to tell him how much he hurt me. Part of me just wants to ignore it. What does your gut say? My gut said to let it go, to leave the past in the past, to not open that door again. But another part of me knew that closure worked both ways. If David was genuinely trying to make amends, maybe I could give him that. I wrote back, David, thank you for the apology. I accept it. What you did hurt me deeply, but I've healed from it. I'm happy now. I hope you're happy too. I hope therapy helps you become the person you want to be. I forgive you, not for your sake, but for mine. Because holding on to anger was only hurting me. I wish you well. Goodbye. I sent it and then blocked him. Not out of anger, but because I didn't need that door open anymore. That chapter was closed. How do you feel? Ryan asked. Great, finally, completely free. That night, I thought about the woman I'd been 5 years ago, the woman who'd woken up expecting flowers on her anniversary and instead discovered her husband was planning a secret wedding to another woman. That woman had been devastated, broken, lost, but she'd survived, she'd healed, she'd learned to trust again, she'd built a new life from the ruins of the old one, and now, 5 years later, she was happy, genuinely, completely happy. I thought my husband forgot our anniversary. Instead, I discovered he was planning a secret second wedding. It was the worst betrayal I could imagine. But it wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. A better chapter. A chapter where I knew my worth and didn't settle for less than I deserved. David taught me what betrayal looks like. Ryan taught me what love looks like. And I taught myself that I was strong enough to survive anything. 5 years later, I can honestly say I'm grateful for all of it. The pain led to growth. The betrayal led to wisdom. The end of one marriage led to the beginning of a better one. And I thought I was losing everything when I saw that secret wedding venue. Instead, I was gaining the opportunity to build something real. And that's exactly what I did. The end of that story was just the beginning of mine. And my story, it's just getting started.